Oh boy, it's a Mega Man!
Yeah, no, it's freaking not. Okay, it's not his spiritual successor. It's not his left butt cheek. Okay, I went in with an open mind, thinking it can't be as bad as everybody says it's been, right? I mean, come on, it had Keiji and Ifune working on it. He's one of the guys that worked on the original Mega Mans, as well as other titles in the series. The dude's got to know what he's doing, right? No, this game isn't even worth the $20 that I dropped on it. I cannot believe that I spent money on this. All right, and then I had to go and I had to find the Kickstarter shirts, okay? Because of the fact that there's no Mighty Number 9 shirts. You know why? Because the game is awful. Because nobody wants to make Mighty Number 9 shirts. Because there's no point. All right? Nobody cares. It's just no one. And they came sealed. This shirt came sealed in its original packaging, like it was some type of collector's item. But they're not. No. So I opened them. Right up. You know why? Because the legacy that this game has left has made everything that's attached to it utterly worthless! I can't believe I actually had to devote a budget to this video! Oh, whatever. Let's play some games.
By the way, this video will at times parody Ego Raptor's sequelitis episode on Mega Man X as an homage to his original creation and because it was so well suited to discussing this awful game. I seriously do not know what happened here. This game has such a highly publicized Kickstarter campaign. The release date was pushed back multiple times so they can ensure that they got everything right, and it had Keiji Inafune working on it, one of the original creators of Mega Man, and this game still was an absolute travesty. I don't get it. I just don't. How did they get it so wrong? My guess is that they focused way too much on making it an updated version of Mega Man that they completely forgot what made the original series so incredible.
Let's take a look at some examples!
The game opens with an apparent attack on the Battle Coliseum, where we're immediately introduced to the protagonist, Beck, and Dr. White. Yep, Dr. White. Less than a minute into the game, and I'm already rolling my eyes. Like, couldn't they get a little more creative? I get it. They were looking to harken back to the originals, but come on, Dr. White? Following this, we have a pop-up come onto the screen that tells us how to play. Again, why? Why do we need the controls displayed for us? Remember back to Mega Man X, the game you completely pulled this opening segment from? We were able to figure it out just fine in the original games, so why do we need it spelled out for us here? It's an insult to the gamer, with gameplay this simple, to assume we need you to tell us what to do. This isn't complicated. Why do we need a bunch of stupid dumb menus that pop up that we gotta read? A little further in, we get a news report that robots are rampaging in all 52 states. So apparently we've gained a few states in this country since it's supposed to be the US, even though the opening cutscene said it was present day, and by my calculations, there's still only 50, I don't know. So Gregory Graham, CEO of Cherry Dynamics, a robot manufacturer, claims that the rampaging bots aren't his company's fault, but that it's all because of a supposed Dr. Blackwell. Ugh, okay, I get it. Black and white. Sure, a pun that's really forced and unnecessary.
Mighty number 6! What does he think he's doing?
Shut your mouth! I don't need you! This is exactly the kind of crap that Ego Raptor complained about in his sequelitis episode, and now it's leaked into a game that's supposed to be the spiritual successor to Mega Man. Lots of stupid pop-ups that are supposed to convey the story. Why do we need this? Why do I need this shoved down my throat by a doctor chiming in? We know the story. Robots are attacking. You're a robot created to fight back. Now go do it. That's all we wanted. Why the extra exposition? And it's all over the place. Literally every single stage.
Does nobody pay attention to the fans anymore?
Anyway, you have to use this technique to phase through them and absorb their cell. What? And this technique is incredibly imbalanced and wonky. Over the course of the entire game, I found myself constantly screwing it up and accidentally falling to my death or running into enemies and obstacles because there is zero way to judge where you'll end up. Make a note here, people. Adding a new mechanic to a game can be fun, but when it serves no real purpose and hinders the gameplay as opposed to helping it, it's a bad thing. This is a bad thing. Oh, and did I mention that you have to use it against the bosses? That's right. You have to wear them down enough to slowly assimilate them, and if you miss your chance, they regain all of the health you took out of them. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The very first stage. We're in the first stage and the game has already shown us how drastically different it is from the series it's supposed to be the spiritual successor to in all of the worst ways. Really? It's the perfect opening. Lets you know if you want to beat this game, you're going to have a bad time. We then get a cutscene that literally relays everything we already learned from those aggravating exposition bits in the first stage. We get it. We know. Robots are on the loose, and it's up to you to stop them. This adds nothing. We also get introduced to the female counterpart to Beck. Call? Really? Rock and roll was at least cool, but Beck and Call? Why is that what they chose? There is nothing cool about those names. Why not Bonnie and Clyde, or Mork and Mindy? Heck, even Burger and Fries would be better than this. We then go to the stage select. This part is actually a little cool, at least from the beginning. You get a little bio on each of the mighty numbers. Once you start playing through, though, you realize how utterly broken this game is. It tried to do some interesting things with enemy placements and environments, but there are so many instances where you just end up getting hurt because the hitbox detection is off or the mechanics don't operate like they should. Not to mention, some of the stages aren't very clear in what you're supposed to do. For example, I started with Nightshade. Conventional platformers go from left to right, for the most part, and you feel very easily like you're making progress as you move throughout it. Not here though. Nope. The stage loops, and I had the most difficult time figuring out that I was chasing Nightshade down throughout these continual corridors. When I first got up to him, I thought, well, that was a short stage, but then he disappeared, and I had to go the other direction. Over and over and over this happens, and you have no idea if you're actually getting anywhere, until finally, I guess, you phase him enough times to actually face off against him. You know how long it took me to get here? Over an hour. Over an hour of just running around aimlessly, shooting at things, and freaking out because the game made no sense. And when I finally faced off against him, I kept dying because there were attacks that I had absolutely no way to dodge. Not like I couldn't figure it out, but I would just get cornered, and because of how slow and immobile that Beck is, I couldn't escape. This isn't fun! Also, when you die, a little bot gives you power-ups to help boost your abilities in your next run against the boss. This is pretty much the equivalent of the invincibility leaf in the new Mario games. Another update that I hated. The game is basically saying, well hey, since you suck so bad, here's a bit of help. This is a result of the game developers assuming that we're all dumb, and we can't identify simple patterns in our head like normal human beings can and need to be able to do in order to be. But you know what? It's pretty friggin' hard when the patterns don't make any sense. So why not throw in a little extra help? No, I don't want that! I apparently need it, but I don't want it. You made the game. You made it this frustratingly difficult. I should be able to figure this out without additional assistance. If I wanted an easy mode, I would have picked easy mode, but I didn't. Whose fault is it that the design inhibits me from figuring out a well-honed strategy? So after I finally beat him and absorbed his power, I was treated to yet another cutscene that details an account of a former plot by Dr. Blackwell to shut down every bot in America. Okay, so there's this whole other thing that happened before that we never get to see, but we're supposed to just know that there's this bad guy named Blackwell doing everything, except he's in prison. I don't know if this was intended to create suspense or mystery or intrigue, but all it did was confuse me. So we come back to the stage select, except now Aviator has a new category listed underneath it, Advice. And what do we get? Nightshade, the robot we just defeated, telling us that he's there trying to stop Aviator. And you know what? He is! He actually helps you in the stage. Now, you might be thinking, this is a cool addition. But actually, it's a bit of a problem. Once again, the developers have downplayed our intelligence because this advice section gives us a hint about who to take on next and what weapon to use against him. They've completely removed the intrigue from the original games of figuring out on our own. I'm even less interested than before because now everything is going to be spelled out for me. So we work our way through, fighting against the same enemies we've already seen, trying not to fall to our deaths as we phase against wind conditions that make the already annoying mechanic even more tedious to manage. Fight a short mini-boss that is more of a roadblock than an actual challenge, and finally make our way to Avi. Guess what? Not only is Shade's weapon useful against him, it's practically near impossible to beat him without it. What is this? One of the things that made the original games great was the fact that you could use boss abilities against other robot masters to take them down faster. Not that you had to in order to land a proper hit. So what if I had chosen Aviator first? I would have made it all the way here just to find out there was nothing I could do, that I completely wasted my time? Who the jack was in charge of that awful decision? And seriously, why do we need the commentary from the bosses while we're fighting them? It doesn't add to the game. It doesn't make me feel more immersed. It's annoying. The voice actors are annoying. The puns are annoying. This is so aggravating. Once again, more attacks that are nearly impossible to anticipate and dodge. Once again, phasing off of ledges that you may not be able to jump back up to. Why? Defeat him and absorb his power, and it's time to take on Pyrogen, because that's what the select screen tells you. You'd think with the level being a stage engulfed in flames that it'd be pretty challenging, but all this Inferno does is try to distract you from the relatively mediocre design. There's nothing really challenging here. A few robots that make use of fire abilities, but are really mostly just rehashes of bots we've already seen. We make our way through and face off against Pyro, and it's honestly pretty much a cakewalk. Where is the tension here? The flames don't do it, the gameplay doesn't do it, even the boss doesn't do it. What's supposed to be challenging about this? 3 bosses down, we get another cutscene where Dr. White wonders what in Tyson's name is causing all the chaos. Hey, don't you drag Neil into this! A hypothesis starts to form, I guess, because Beck was temporarily shut down when the mess broke out. This whole bit tells us nothing other than Dr. White had an idea. We don't know about what, but he had one. This is not good storytelling. If you want it to be compelling, then give us something more than, hey, guy had an idea. Do the storytelling through the gameplay. Make us care. Make it engaging. But if not, then just keep it simple, like the original games did. Next up is Cryosphere. Now there's not much to talk about in this level. It's icy, things are slippery, traditional mechanics. Except for this part. You're underwater. If you know me, I've said it before, I hate underwater segments. So what do? Crank it up to 11 and give us the dam from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.0. You're falling, you have to move and phase so you don't hit the walls, and you just keep dying. This is so dumb. Why? That is the motto of this game. Why? How are you possibly supposed to anticipate this? How are you supposed to time it and position it? The hitbox is so off. You have to be perfect. This isn't a fun challenge. This is a freaking nightmare. Also, water? The place is supposed to be frozen. Why is there water? Another part that shows off how awful the phasing technique is right before you reach cryo. You just phase and die, and phase and die, over and over. I really just don't even have the energy to keep being mad. I don't know why my expectations at this point would be anything other than the lowest of the low.
You just refuse to chill out, don't you, Runt? Well, I'm sure it's nothing a little cold shower won't cure.
Yep, don't have the energy. I hate cryo. I wanted to yell more. In fact, I yelled a lot while fighting her, but I just don't have it in me anymore to keep raging. So, here you go, simplified. She's annoying, her voice is annoying, she sounds like a discount Harley Quinn, her attacks are annoying, her pew 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 is annoying. I just hate her. I just do. Next up is Battalion. Again, not much to say. Very simple platforming, very uninspired enemies, very simple boss battle, bang boom pow, done. We get another short cutscene with Mr. Graham here. He's ticked because everyone's asking him about the robot issue instead of interrogating Blackwell. Yada yada, top secret file on his desk. Once again, we know jack squat. You guys noticing a pattern here? This game just slowly sucks the life out of you. By this point, I was just coasting through the stages. I seriously had given up the will to care. I just wanted to beat it so I could say that I did it. When a game gets to the point of being a chore like this, it really becomes time to start questioning a lot of the decision making that went into it. Next stage, seismic, underground level, things that can crush and squish you. Timing is key, though it doesn't matter because sometimes, once again, the hitbox. Oh hey, look! Another area where you have to have the assistance of the previous boss in order to have any chance to progress. And even still, it's a complete nightmare to pass. Surprisingly, the battle against Seismic was actually one of the only bits I felt challenged by in a good way. This was a lot more about precision timing, which is a pretty classic trope from the Mega Man games. I had to think fast and be quick on my toes and use the environment to my advantage. This was one of the only areas where I genuinely felt like it was my fault when I failed. The patterns made sense, and it required some real tactical thought. But you know what they say about putting lipstick on a pig. Okay, you know what? Brandish's level ain't half bad either. More quick thinking, more technical thought, lots of high-speed platforming. This is actually kind of fun. The enemies still suck, but trying to time your jumps and anticipate where a platform will appear actually makes you feel pretty accomplished when you get it right. And when Brandish finally appears, it's kind of cool to see one of the mighty numbers fighting against this corruption inside of him. Adds a subtle humanistic element to him, as opposed to the other mighty numbers, who are all just resigned completely to their destructive paths. I will say though, the real battle with him is the lead up to it, where you're dodging his attacks while jumping over the cards. Because with Seismic's ability, it tends to go really fast.
Destroy my body! My promise! Smack above you! You must destroy me!
We get another cutscene afterwards where... Wait, what? Apparently, White has discovered that an old robot of his, T-Rinity, is the one responsible for this whole mess. So it's kind of his fault? Wait, Blackwell was the one who initially shut down that project? Okay, I'm so lost. What is going on? Well, time for the last mighty number. Dynatron is inside of a facility whose lights keep going out. It's pretty simple, but... what is with this pixel-perfect garbage? No. I said I wasn't going to rage anymore. Despite the fact that this is literally the most stupid obstacle I've ever seen in a game. Alright, let's just take it real slow and... No! Keep your cool. Come on. Almost there. Okay, that was dumb, but okay, I made it. Just one more thing to add to the list. Once again, another relatively simple boss lies in Dynatron. Her patterns quickly become predictable, and Brandish's blades make quick work of her, and that's about all there is to it. Yay! Another cutscene! Graham phones in to blame Blackwell some more, but also requests Dr. Sanda and Dr. White's help. So, wait, now we're going with Call to the Robot Factory? What? I have to play as Call now? She's a complete downgrade in every way. That's it. Playtime's over! She's weak, she's slow, she has horrible defenses, she's out after pretty much one hit. And to top it all off, I have to fight a giant guard dog. Why? Why? What is the purpose of this? Why include a stage that's incredibly difficult with a brand new character that we know next to nothing about, whose playstyle we've had absolutely no chance to test, and give us a task like this? Oh look, more floaty BS that's more frustrating than the original parts with Beck. And the final boss, don't even get me started. There is so much trial and error involved here. Once again, more attacks that you cannot dodge. And the instructions on how to fight the dog are not clear in any way. I figured it out by complete luck, and it sucked every time. So see, you're supposed to be traveling down to meet Dr. Blackwell, and nothing! No cutscene! Not even an indicator of what happened! What the jack are they waiting for? Well, we have no choice but to go to the Cherry Dynamics Robot Factory. Here you actually have to make use of almost all of the mighty abilities you've acquired to get past certain spots. I love and hate this. Love because it finally gives you some use for the abilities you've obtained. Hate because it's the first time I felt the need to use anything other than the standard blaster. It doesn't make me feel accomplished in any way that literally every enemy is easily taken out with my basic cannon. The mighty abilities carry no weight, up until now, and that makes for some really underwhelming gameplay. And you know what else sucks about the abilities? The fact that they charge up over time. You don't ever feel like you might accidentally run out, because even if you do, you just have to wait a little while and then you're good to go. One of the great things about Mega Man was that you could run out if you didn't conserve your abilities properly. It raised the tension that much more, and you had to be strategic about what you did. But here, it's just a little bit too much hand-holding for me. The boss here is called the Nameless. Again, the only time I really felt like I didn't know what to do. As opposed to the other bosses, this one gives no indicator of what ability to use. The patterns are easy to figure out, but it becomes increasingly more difficult to attack and phase it. Once you do figure out to use Battalion's missiles, though, it's easily dispatched. So you finally stopped more robots from being created, and Dr. White goes to the prison to meet Blackwell. Oh, now we get to see what happened? Weird that we are just now getting introduced to who I guess is the villain? But wait, apparently Graham has activated Trinity again in order to disrupt the weapons industry? So wait, this isn't the bad guy? Blackwell's plot from before was to stop Graham? So why is he in prison and not Graham? And apparently, Dr. White is aware of all of this? Why hasn't he turned Graham in? What is happening here? And Beck was created using the same programming but without the mistakes? I'm so lost. Whoa! What? William White is actually Bill Blackwell? Wait, who is Bill Blackwell? I guess we're supposed to assume that he's a relative of the Dr. Blackwell in prison, but we aren't really given any context here. What was this reveal supposed to achieve? Is it really Dr. White's, Blackwell Jr.'s fault?
What the jack is happening in this stupid, convoluted game?
So it's time to travel to the Battle Coliseum to take on Trinity. And it's pretty much exactly that. A battle royale testing your wits and how much patience you have with waiting for these pink cubey things to operate properly so you can stand on them. Lots of enemy robots to face off against and pretty standard platforming until you get here. I said earlier the Robot Factory will test all of the techniques you've learned. Here, you use one, Aviator's Propeller. This section is stupid. It's stupid, it's stupid, it's stupid. The timing is off, the mechanics are off, you easily fall to your death or misplace your hit, you're just floating along quite literally hoping you make it. So much death. I will say though, when you finally come face to face with Trinity, it really is something else. First, you fight its core form, where its attacks end up becoming reminiscent of the Yellow Devil from Mega Man. Take that out and it's time for its flower form. This battle is hard, but it really is all about paying attention to the patterns, learning them, and timing your jumps and shots just right. It could take hours to get it right. It took me about 3. But when you finally get it, you feel fully accomplished because it means you had mastered the mechanics of this awful, awful game. Despite how bad the game is as a whole, this last fight really did leave me feeling like I had achieved something. So you finally released Trinity's true form and...
I did it! I mean, you did it, Trinity. We did it.
No, I did it! Don't you dare try and take this away from me! After the credits, which run for nearly 4 hours because of over 70,000 Kickstarter backers' names in them. Oh my gosh, all of you, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, oh my god. We get a final cutscene where White reveals to Blackwell that he has figured out the key to revolutionizing robots, the synthetic heart that was placed in Beck. Blackwell fires back, saying he's unconvinced, and calls him Bill, which White rejects, again claiming he will prove it to Blackwell and everyone else. We cut to Black with a very foreboding final message from Blackwell, alluding to a possible sequel.
Then only time will tell if this mighty number 9, this Beck, is a blessing or a curse.
Oh dear God, please don't let there be a sequel.
I don't even know where to begin. Like I said earlier, I wanted this to be good. I hoped it would be good. I hoped that the criticism that everyone gave it was just a bunch of fanatics jumping onto a bandwagon. But I'm right there with them. I really am. I mean, this game left so much to be desired of Inafune and his team. I can't recognize this as a true spiritual successor to Mega Man. And even if they were to put out a more fine-tuned sequel, I don't think I'd want it. I mean, seriously, Capcom, please, just give us a new installment, all right? Give us back the Blue Bomber. We want back Mega Man, the real Mega Man. Heck, have Beck be a robot master, and then just have Mega Man come in and rip his head off. You know, no battle, no tension, just fan service. Give him the old, Godzilla Final Wars treatment, and put him where he belongs. That being said, folks, I think we know what needs to happen here. The whole point of ending Mega March with this game was to emphasize the fact that we really, truly need a real Mega Man sequel. Not a successor, but a sequel. Hopefully, maybe, one day soon, we'll see that happen. We can keep our fingers crossed, right? And also, keep bombarding Capcom with letters begging for them to get back to work. Seriously, Capcom, do us a solid. Now guys, if you'll excuse me. I'm just kidding. Still here.
Well, folks, that's about all she wrote. Welcome to the end of Mega March. This was a huge undertaking on my end. Put a lot of work into making this all happen, and really I'm kind of glad and sad to see it end. But you know, maybe next year we'll do another one. Who knows? There's really not much more to say about this game. I would not recommend that you ever buy it or try to beat it. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare beating it. It was a nightmare playing it. It was a nightmare making this video because it brought back all the frustrations that I'd already had. One final note though, I know in the last few videos I've given a shout out to my buddy Joe Kufel for helping me to create the Mega March theme, but really I also just want to give him a big thank you for encouraging me all the time, spurring me on, encouraging me to keep going and keep making these videos. He's a big inspiration for me, and I'm glad to have him around. I'm glad to have him as a friend. Anyways, folks, check back in the future. I'll be sure to come up with more new content, and as always, thanks for being awesome. Please continue to stay that way.